All right, all right. Good evening, and welcome. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I am Deacon E, and I will be moderating for tonight. And I just want to say thank you for all for joining us to Let's Talk About It. And the topic for tonight is parenting during COVID pandemic. How are we dealing with it? What are we doing? What are some pros and cons, the stresses of what's been going on, and how are we dealing with it? All right. Um, Me personally, I do not have children yet. I have one soon on the way. But I do work with kids, and I know I do interact with a lot of parents working in the school system. So I'm just want some feedback on how y'all handling things. Um, like I said, pros and cons. What's going on. So um, this is going to be an open forum tonight. I had a panel. A lot of them couldn't make it tonight for whatever reason. That's fine. But we're just going to leave it open. If you have a question, go ahead. Just chime in. And if you're on the chat, if you want to type it in, we'll answer the questions as they pop up. Okay. So my panel for tonight, the ones that couldn't make it, I do have Sister Rashida. We're here. Thank you, Rashida, for joining us.
Hey.
Sister Mother Ann, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the invitation.
You're more than welcome. All right. So, all right, COVID, pandemic, parenting. Let's talk. So, how are we? Are things different? Are things the same? Just give me some general feedback right now. How are we dealing with being a parent from a parent's perspective? How are y'all handling the pandemic thus far? Let's start with Rashida.
Okay, my bad. I was trying to change this background. I think I'm gonna have to leave it. Looks like it's Dorian. All right, yay. Okay, so hi. I'm sweating because I just got finished giving Amora a bath and I just got finished getting Judah settled. So life for me is the same, just with some added tasks, and I'm thankful and blessed because I have Michaela, who's here with us, and my brother and sister-in-law who help out. But it's still, I guess, the additional task I haven't quite mastered and juggled yet. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's just getting that, and I won't say it's difficult, it's just challenging, and I love a challenge, so I'm here for it. It just allows me to stretch and grow. And I guess if 2020 and 21 is proving, is that this is allowing us to grow in all aspects of our lives. So at the end of the day, I'm here for it. It's just the days when I forget like this. And I know that I had to do something. I had an obligation, but I also have an obligation to my kids. Learning wise, it is and has been somewhat of a stretch because Judah is in the 7th grade and he's autistic. There's no way ever in life that I could teach him anything. So for the weeks that he was virtual, it was a stretch for him as well as everyone else because he was so frustrated because we just moved here from North Carolina. He got used to his teachers where he had there. Then we came to another school, teachers he didn't know. It was quite difficult. And he didn't know how to communicate that difficulty. So he just would act out. And so now that is all gone and we went through Thanksgiving with a break and Christmas with a break, now he's in his I think he's found his style, and he got his first little lollipop yesterday, which was cool, even though I don't give him candy, but he had a good day. So I'll take that. Michaela's in the 10th grade. I don't know any of her work. She's in honors classes. I did honors years ago, 2000. And so I can't help her. I just pray. And then I just kind of push her with positive affirmations. I send her Bible verses every morning, which she never responds to. But I at least try to make sure I'm doing my part and not doing nothing. I also have a 3-year-old that I teach here at home. And that's awesome because I used to teach in early childhood education for 13 plus years. So it's easy, but then it's not because it's your kid. I can teach anyone else's kid except for my own. This has been the most difficult because her language is off the charts. And so when she's frustrated, she not only says I'm frustrated, but ... I won't even say it's not, anything bad, but a 3-year-old shouldn't have just say I'm frustrated. No, she goes beyond that. So, I mean, it's again, stretched all of us to, I guess, not our limit, but beyond our capacity. Because at the end of the day, we think when something tough comes up, that's it. Oh my gosh, what do I do? But no, it just stretches you. And I'm thankful for the stretch.
Good. Real quick, I want to welcome Sister Brittany. She had just joined in. She's one of our panelists going to be for the night.
Hey.
Hey, Brittany. All right. Mother Ann, would you like to add anything? How's the pandemic affected you thus far?
Well, it's kind of, I was kind of staying in a little bit before the pandemic, probably not as much as I have since the pandemic, but I didn't get out as much due to mobility issues. But right now, all of my kids are out of school. Yay. So first of all, I would like to commend every parent that is working and teaching and providing and still taking care of home. And not only that, but the ones that have to go out and try to do it from home or from work or from wherever and trying to rely on others to do it. And those, I do agree with Miss Rashida. It has put you in a place or position of being stretched. And a lot of times, we have to remember, that no more than we can bear.
Amen.
But, but I would just like to first commend all the parents, to the moms, the dads, the uncles, aunts, cousins, sister, brother, whoever is making that village or that network work together for the benefit of the child. I commend you all. I commend the teachers. What I've observed, and I commend Miss Rashida, me, myself, I've been in early childhood education before I stopped working for over 30 years. So it is a feeling I can only imagine. And I would just like to say, when you need to take those breaks, or if it's possible, just breathe or do something out of the norm. This is something that I did in my classroom as a early childhood educator. When I seen that it seemed like nothing going right that day, the kids were just hyped up for whatever reason, nobody listening. All right, everybody, let's just come over here. Let's just lay on the floor. And then put your arms up, put your arms down. Then there have been times, just go outside, scream to the top of your lungs, just scream as loud as you can, just scream, just do something out of the norm. And that will make the kid look at you like it's something wrong with you, when it's not, when you're trying to just get their attention and get their focus back in. One thing that I do wish, or I pray, that this has opened up the school system's eyes, because all along I felt like kids needed that exposure to, and that, to the fact that you might have to learn a different way or be in a different setting of learning. And so, I realized for some children, it has been hard. I know this young lady, straight A's, honor classes, it has really messed with her being home. And then somebody who just, I know another lady who was just whatever. They did excellent being at home, so who you think won't, and who you think won't will. So and since the pandemic has started, my prayer has been for the parents, the teachers, and the children, because everybody in every arena has been stretched to another level. One of the things I said during this pandemic at the beginning, we've been talking about a shift for years. Well, guess what? The shift, you have been moved. Tag you it. It ain't no longer a shift. You've been moved. Everybody in the entire world has been moved, whether you were ready or not. Tag you it. We're all, So I commend them. One thing that I did to try to ease it, I regret my prolonged procrastination. That's what I think I say. I did reading for 25 days straight in December for parents to try to let their kids listen. Had quite a bit of participation. One mom even said, "Oh, my kids are quiet. Thank you so much." I mean, I guess it was just a breather for her. So I would just like to just encourage parents to see if you can, if you know somebody, or, what you can do to try to make it easier or lighter or lighten the load to help you get accomplished what you need to accomplish. And I was hearing what Miss Rashida said about, teaching her own children, at home. So, we're her preschooler. So, and that, has probably been another level for her as well. So I'll let somebody else talk.
Oh, that was excellent. Thank you, Mother Ann. Talking about teaching your own kids, that brings me to Brittany, because Brittany, she has her own school, and I know, this it has to be, well, it's not pretty much different because you were doing a lot of homeschooling. So just tell me about that, how the pandemic, because you got like a household of what, 6, right?
We've got 9 because I have my sister kids. I've had them throughout this pandemic as well. So there are 9 children in my house and just 2 adults. And Lord Jesus, it takes more than prayer. Sometimes I'm just like, I need to be in my little corner. I need you to come on down here and give me the hem of your garment. I need to wrap some of these kids up with it because they need it. But it's been interesting because we're working with 2 different school systems because my nieces are still in school in New York. So they're technically virtually learning on a schedule, very strategic, and you'll hear all of them in the background. So excuse that. They don't be quiet no matter what I do. I've just learned to kind of like, it's background noise. It's just background noise at this point.
Yes.
So the pandemic has been very interesting for us because we have such a range of children, from 12 all the way down to 2. And so it's literally constant, nonstop reminders of get your hand, and half of my kids suck their fingers. So it's really frustrating because I'm just like, Lord, you can't just be out here doing stuff and now sucking your thumb. You can't be doing this. You can't be doing that. So it's a lot of redirecting and a lot of instruction. And so that's been one of those things where we take it for granted because we're just like, oh, they know better. Or, let the germs get in them so they can get better and get. Now I'm like, okay, wait, pause. I don't want them kind of germs. Like, we let them get outside and get dirty and they're like, it's good for them. That was the old way of life. Like, we can't do that no more. So that has been a big thing of just my kids just getting so many redirections. New York State schools are a lot different from Virginia. The work is rigorous. I mean, real rigorous. And I'm just like, I can't keep up myself. And so it's hard because my one niece is 12. She's an A student. She's in school for 5 minutes, I feel like, and then she's done all her work and she's done for the day. Then there's my 9-year-old niece who is struggling because she can't focus. It's like squirrel. And she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, could you sit still for a minute? Could you look at and the teachers are doing it, the best they can. Hey, let's sing, let's dance. And they're just bopping all over the screen. And I'm just like, this little girl is not paying no attention to y'all. I don't know what more you can do for her. And then I have my children who are homeschooling. So they aren't on the same regimen as everybody else. This is the first year we've actually had a virtual lessons for them because they go to they attend cross-cultural talks in her program for them because it was just so much for me running a daycare center, 2 centers actually, and trying to deal with my own kids. So I'm with Rashida. I can teach anybody else's kids, but I know my children's potential. And I don't have time to play the game. Like, we're just not gonna do this. I know what you're capable of. Like, I'm your mom. I know you. So you can't get over on me like you would the teacher. That sweet smile, it's not rubbing off on me. Like, it's not gonna work. So certain things I'm just like, go to your father, let him help you. And my husband has no patience when it comes to school. He's just like, you don't know what this is? Well, I don't know. Wasn't you in class all day? And I'm just like, okay, that's not it. Come on back. So that partnership and trying to figure out the balance of the household with him before working all the time outside of the house before the pandemic, and then now him being home all the time, it's just been a dynamic change for the kids. And they're like, well, why is daddy here? And why is you not here? And what's going on here? Like, why aren't we with mommy all the time? And so it's like a constant thing of change for them. And I will say the kids adjust very well. And all the time they're like going with the flow. And I will say that's been like a breath of fresh air for us, that the kids are flexible. Like I think they're a little more flexible than we are as adults, because we're freaking out like, oh my God, is my kid gonna survive this? Are they gonna be able to learn online? Are they like, and the kids kind of just like, whatever, what we doing next? Like what's next? And I'm just like, okay, this is what we doing. So it's definitely been a learning curve. I've definitely been stretched to some places that I didn't even know existed in my life. The kids have taught me some things this pandemic that I didn't think I would ever need to learn. And my language has changed. I mean, there's so much more things I'm more relaxed with now, which you would think would be the opposite, that I'd be more like stressed about, but I'm more like, nope. I'm like, is it really worth it? Like, there's lives being lost every day. There's certain things like you just start letting stuff go that you might have been a little more strict about in the past. So there's a lot of flexibility between both sides, adults and kids. And you know, we making it work the best way we can,
Oh,
especially with extra bodies. Okay.
right. So definitely, she said one thing kids pick up, because I know as adults we kind of get stuck in a routine. But like I said, with the pandemic, you got to kind of go with the flow a little bit. But and also, Mother Ann mentioned something. She said, um, what I wrote down is a two-edged sword, because I know I work in the school system, high schoolers, and it really is a double-edged sword, because you got some kids that um, need that interaction. They need that stimulus. They need to have a teacher present. Some kids are independent. They can work on their own and just be just fine. They don't need anybody, any help, anything. And kudos to them. And then I have what I call the knuckleheads. Tough love. It's all love. But
Yes.
yeah, my
I
knuckleheads.
know about that tough love.
Yeah, the ones that always used to roam the hallways and skip class, but now you can't do that. So you're at home all day, and actually, what I've seen surprisingly, when I pull up grades and stuff, my knuckleheads, those are the ones that are actually doing actually well, because there's no more stimulus, no more, like no squirrel. You know what I'm saying? No. What I'm saying, nothing to distract them. They're at home all day by themselves, so that they have nothing to do but do their own work. And then the ones that can, the ones that need that interaction, the ones that are actually doing good, but now with the pandemic they're actually suffering because they don't have that, like me. If I don't know if I would have struggled, but I use other people. I was an athlete. I played ball, and I use sports to keep my grades up. So I used to play little mind games with myself. I used to, be competitive. Oh, you got a B, I'm gonna get a B plus. Oh, you got an A, I'm gonna get an A plus. I use that to help me get my grades up. But now, if there's nobody to go against, there's no competition. I don't know. I probably would have struggled a little bit. Which brings me to my next topic, as far as being virtual or in-person learning. With a lot of teachers that I've excuse me, not teachers, parents that I've spoken to, um a lot of them are for going back, because like I said, some of their kids that are A students are now struggling, and they want them to go back, but they're kind of fearful. So the ones that are going like, how do you all feel about coming back into the building with the pandemic going on, or versus staying virtual? Anyone? Don't be shy now.
Oh, well, so again, I guess I will again piggyback off what I said before. I cannot my autistic son. So I'm all for his cohort, because that's what it is in Virginia, going back to school. And I pray for my kids before I go to bed at night, and I kiss him on his forehead, and I pray for him before he gets on the bus every morning. And that's all I can do, because at the end of the day, I still have to take care of my 3-year-old and just live. And I can't be worried about what might happen. And so at the end of the day, that's what pushes me, because I've done that and forgotten to eat. I've only drank coffee. It's dinner time. I'm trying to make lunch for my 3-year-old. I'm trying to make dinner, and I'm stretching myself to the point where I'm not taking care of me. I can't pour into someone else when I have nothing inside of myself. So I can't worry about things that are not in my control. So this has also pushed me to remember that. I believe throughout our lives, things happen and we jump over these obstacles, but this has been one obstacle where we can't even go around. You can't go under it. You can't go around it. You just got to push through it. And so at the end of the day, I have just totally put my faith in God. This is the gear where these 2 past years where I've prayed more than I ever in my life. And it's more for not only my kids and myself, but for the world, because there's so many people who don't believe that this thing happened, that it's conspiracies and you shouldn't wear a mask and, all kids should go to school. And at first they were the super spreaders. And because the data is so new that, people don't believe that it's real. And so at the end of the day, all I can do is pray and leave it, because that's my faith, my excited expectation for something greater. And the greater is going beyond this. And at the end of the day, this should let us know that if we have the faith, that's all that matters. Everything else, we got to leave it alone. And I kind of put a firewall around myself. Like, I can't let these other distractions, like you said, squirrel, get me, because at the end of the day, I have to be the example for my kids. And it's difficult and it's tough, but I do it because I don't really have a choice. Now for Michaela, she's in the 10th grade. She asked about going back. I just looked at her like I know what she was talking about, because it's no way that I want you to go back anytime soon. And she's in 10th grade and she's a social butterfly, but she's also had to adapt. And she's a scholar. She doesn't like getting B's. She wants to be a cardiovascular surgeon. She wants to go into Space Force. It's things she wants to do with her life. So at the end of the day, B's are not good for her. And she's taking these honors courses and she's stretching herself. And all I can do is pray and tell her you got it and move on. But there's no way I can say, yep, you're going back to school because you want to be around your friends. The thing about this, she knows no one. She knows no one at this school. We moved to a place where she has seen people on her online school and virtually. I'm like, thank you, Lord, because I don't have to sit here and be mom guilty in the fact that she wants friends. Well, sorry for you. You'll be fine. Because at the end of the day, this might be your college life. Who knows what's going to happen to this world before it's all over? Because she's sure going. So if she never socially gets to go to with someone or interact ever again, then she also has to learn a different way to interact with people. It's 2021. Between TikTok and all this other stuff that's going on, you can't tell me you can't find your tribe. And I get it. You're young and you're still trying to find yourself, but that's when you got to tap in, because that's going to be how you get through this.
I definitely agree with that, because that was a lot of like comments we would get with homeschooling our kids. How do you socialize them? When they gonna make friends? And I'm like, well, look at all y'all now. So I definitely agree with that. But there's ways to socialize them. I mean, we're a party all on our own, so we don't need no extra guests. But listen, but it's definitely been a thing where my kids still play in the cul-de-sacs. We live with the neighborhood kids, and they still want to go and like be out there with their little friends. And I'm just like, all right, but you only be that close to little Johnny and little Susie. She cute, but keep her over there. And so it's definitely difficult. And just to say a little bit about the topic at hand, I deal with a lot of parents who have that struggle, because I do work with childcare. So I'm around kids every day. We're in that struggle of these kids need to go back to school versus these kids are doing all right. And it sucks for the parents who are unable to afford childcare. I've had parents where they're like, well, I can't afford this. My kids are at home by themselves. I've had parents where they're just like, and I'm like, your child is like 8. What you mean by themselves? Like 7. Wait, what you mean 7 and 8? But I'm gonna call the people. And so there's like those instances where I'm just like, okay, there needs to be an option for those kids who really don't have resources, but it also needs to be options. Like, don't take away this virtue for some of these kids. I think this has opened up a door for some kids that they never knew was there. I mean, I'm a personal example of, I had no choice but to go to school virtually. I am a mother and have been a mother for all of my life. But if I ever wanted to pursue a college education, I had to do this thing virtually. And at first, I didn't think I was going to be able to make it. I was like, look, Jesus, I don't know what I done signed myself up for, but I need a classroom. I need a teacher. And now I get straight A's and I'm in a master's program. So it's one of those things. because that was all God. It won't nothing me. Let me stop and give him praise because that ain't had nothing to do with me. Them A's was all the good Lord because I ain't even buy a book yet. So I know it's God. Because I was just like, I don't know how we passed in this master's program in educational psychology. But I think that, like, I think Mother Ann said, some of teaching these kids a new way to learn because it's hard for you to sit up here. Hey, no, my husband is antagonizing these children. They playing with balls and everything in this house. Like, this is crazy.
Okay.
And that's good.
It is like, this is what I deal with. But that's what the leniency, because before COVID, you playing with balls in my house, you getting put out. So that's that leniency coming in again. But I get it. I get it on both ends of the spectrum of you got to go back to school, and I don't think it's not right safe yet. I mean, and then the schools with these, is it going to be mandatory for vaccinations before you got to go back? What are these vaccines long-term effects? Like, there's so many questions that we don't have answers to, that we can only put our faith in God, that we can only trust that whatever decision you make is right for you and your family.
Yeah.
Amen. That was excellent. Because like I said, I'm not a parent yet. My wife and I, we've had these hypothetical situations, projecting into the future. Like, if we had a 10, 11-year-old right now, how would we handle certain situations? Am I comfortable sending my child back to school? Can we handle teaching our own children? Help, like, I ain't gonna lie, some of the work they get, I'm just like, good God. And like, it's like an engineering program and you only in the 10th grade, like crazy. But anyway, because like I said, I work in the schools, and I've been faced with the situation. They're not forcing me to go back to work, but if I don't go back to work, if I remain virtual, that means I would have to give up coaching.
Oh.
Those who know me, me and the wife, we had to have a serious. That's not a and when somebody might say, "Oh, coaching is nothing," but I love interacting with the kids. I love sports. Um, I just love children. I love helping them. It's what I do, and so it's a tough subject that we had to discuss, and because on one hand they were like, well, if you can go coach, well, then you can go back to work then. So I'm like, this is true. So it's just tough, and you, like I said, with the COVID, the numbers, is not really, you don't know what's what, how high they are, how low they are, is it safe, is it not safe? So you just gotta, like I say, stay prayed up and be cautious. Um, so, well, just take precaution the best way that you can. Like I said, wear your mask, keep your hands clean, social distance. I just came from practice, and we was out there, and the first thing you want to do is chest bump and high five, and I just had to restrain myself, and I was just like, hey, from a distance, hey, how you doing? Keep your mask on, pull it up over your nose. Just remind the kids and everything. But it's tough because like, I just want to be, I'm a guy's guy, and I feel like I'm raising young men, and that's how we did back. We just got all up in each other, and we were men. So and it's kind of different now. You gotta hold back and be a little bit more refrained from each other, but it is what it is. So that brings me to my next topic: gatherings. All right, are we comfortable? What's how much is enough? Like, because I know me personally, and I hate to feel this way because I'm such a people person. Like, I get it from my mom. She's like the social butter. Anybody who know my mom, she's a social butterfly. She just, if you met her, you know. But anyway, like, now I'm just like, if I go to the grocery store and it's too crowded, like, I look at the parking lot first. If the parking lot is packed, I'm not even going. I'm not even going. So if I see 5, 6 people in one aisle, I'll circle back around till the aisle's clear. And like, somebody cough, I hate to be like, look at them like they got Ebola, or like, so like, how are we dealing with gatherings? Like, are we comfortable being around people? are we? I mean, again, social distance is a must, but some people don't even know how to distance. Like, I had, we had a meeting. Coach, I ended up being at the school one day, having to do something, and one of my coworkers was just right up on you, and I'm like, hey, what's the appropriate way to let them know? Hey, how do we handle gatherings like birthday parties or anything? Are we our baby shower? Look, we trying to figure out how we're gonna plan this baby shower. Like, what's the best way? How would you suggest to do it? Any takers?
Mother, did you want to go first?
Well, I was like, well, that's a lot. But as far as gatherings, can I make one comment about the last question you said?
Oh, sure.
I was just gonna say, one is, I think that as far as going virtual or going back needs to really be up to the parent, because they know their child, and they know that some children ain't gonna stay out Susie's hair. Some children ain't gonna, stay 6 feet apart. This my best friend, and so I think it needs to be up to the individual parent on what they feel like will work best for their family. For those that have to send their kids back, I'm praying again. I'm praying for everyone, and the fact that we do have to believe and stand on our faith, but God also gives us wisdom. Yeah. So you have to know what is for you, what you need to do, what precautions you need to take. And then for those that choose to do virtual, I think really it should be an option of both. One, I feel like for so long, classrooms have been overcrowded. I feel like for so long that this opportunity of young children working on computers and stuff on a regular or consistent basis should have, it's a lot of stuff that I feel like that should have been in place a long time ago. Now we were forced into it, and people were running around trying to get cable and internet and computers and all of this stuff to accommodate, just for the sake of your child learning. And so with that being said, again, to the parent, as far as gatherings, as far as the baby shower, have it virtual, have your gift cards or cash apps or, the Amazon, have it delivered from wherever or whatever. That is just a suggestion. Because as far as gatherings, I was invited to a wedding and it was virtual. And then they had a list of what, the places, if you wanted to get a gift, they had Amazon gift cards or something else. And that was the way that they received all of their wedding gifts. Gatherings, as far as gatherings, the only gathering I can say that I've been with is with my kids. And I've been around a couple people, but I know that it was people that dealt with other health issues themselves or had to be around somebody else. So they were cautious as to who they were around. I know that they went to the store early and, and if my children or anybody thought that they came in contact with somebody, they would let somebody know, because I have I have a couple that work in a hospital or, facility. And so they made sure they stayed clear until everything was clear. So, as far as gatherings, I think, and like you said, everybody is not trying to be thoughtful of the next person. Everybody is not trying to stay clear. And like you said, nowadays, anytime anybody cough or sneeze, people looking at you like, what you doing? You might better go home. Do you have it? You got the cooties, so you really have to and realize that every time somebody cough, sneeze, or it's not COVID. And so you just really have to really know. And like you said, I know this lady, she had stayed clear, had no issues. She got sick and went to the doctor, and she ended up going to the dentist, and she got a call the very next week, and the dentist, either between the dentist and the nurse, had COVID. So that put, and so it threw her for a loop. So, people, all this time she said that she had been fine, no issues, no nothing. And then the one time that she wasn't feeling well, she went to the doctor, and she came in contact with the person that, so, I felt for her. But again, you never know who. You just have to be cautious of your surroundings, and, just use wisdom again.
Amen.
Mother, you struck a nerve, because I've been taking my kids to the doctor, but the one place I have not taken them to or set up an appointment was to the dentist. Just open. You can't wear a mask while you getting all that stuff done. And I just, no, ma'am. So, I mean, that story just gave me a little bit of confirmation that it's okay, that I wait. Like they go every 6 months, and it's been probably 6 months since they haven't been. I'm okay.
Well, she had gotten sick, and she said that her ear was hurting so bad, it was piercing. And she didn't know if it was a tooth, or because she said that it was hurting all the way up to her temple, and it had been going on for like 2 to 3 weeks. So she was trying to see the cause of it. And she said that she even asked them, should I go to the doctor first? And they said, well, she said that they said, well, let's see if make sure it's not the tooth, and so that's what prompted her to go.
Well, okay. In regards to the baby shower, I would say have people who are local drop the gifts off at the door. Like, there's no contact. Like, all right. But in regards to gathering, I do not like going out. I go out to church every Sunday. And when, I sit strategically at the back so that I can see who's coming in. Yes, I said it. And I'm looking. And if it's a person that is not normally here, I'm like, all right, did you do this? Did you do the Google? Did you do the Google Doc? Do we know? Just because I have little kids, like, I cannot imagine something happened to my 3-year-old, my 12-year-old who is autistic and can't talk, my 16-year-old, anyone that I know and love. And so, like you said, people, seriously, I don't believe people really know how to wash their hands thoroughly unless they've been at early childhood education. Yes, I said it. Because you're supposed to sing the happy birthday song twice. People don't do it. And I said it. And so with my 3-year-old, she gets so mad. Says, I'm frustrated with you. Why? Because you make me wash my hands. Yes, because people are getting sick and ending up in the hospital, honey. Keep washing. I'll buy more soap. We'll pay the water bill, but you got to wash your hands. And so it's like, church is, I guess, that outlet for me. And I'm thankful that I don't live in North Carolina anymore where that wasn't accessible to me. And I'm thankful that I'm able to go and, sing and, hear the word, and then sometimes go home, but then we go out to eat afterwards. So it's also a thing where it's like, I just really want to go home, but I also, it stretches me too. But as we're out to eat, I'm looking around like, all right, is it 6 feet? Okay. All right. And I have like hand sanitizer, wipes, but we still wash. Like, washing hands, I believe, is the best. Hand sanitizer, okay. I feel like it just smears the germs, and it just dries your hands. It's another but I have everything on deck. And usually I get my food sent here. Like, Instacart is a blessing. I need to get some stock into it because I spend too much, and Amazon, because I spend too much money on these two things and other things because I don't want to go out there. And even when the people are doing their thing, I'm looking at them through the door, and when they're done, delivering, I say, all right, thank you, be blessed. I don't wipe the stuff off though, but I also wash my hands. We make sure we have all the stuff we need to stay safe. But again, that's only what they recommend that we do, so at the end of the day, we can only do what we believe is best. But gatherings and birthdays, hopefully you'll get another one. Hopefully, God willing, you could, stop the wedding, and hold it off until, another time. Just go to the courthouse. I did that, and that was fine with me. The day will come again when you could go and, have this grand, occasion. But then again, think about it. Is your wedding really about the occasion, or is it about the person you're marrying? So, at the end of the day, I have to continue to do what I believe is safe for my family as well as me. Like, I don't have anxiety, but, just going to the T-Mobile store with my daughter today was just ridiculous because it was just me and the kids in there at first. And then one man showed up. Then a lady showed up. And then I'm looking like, where are all the little dots at? There was no more dots. So I'm like, the 6 feet dot's gone. And then all of a sudden, the people getting antsy because, they're not getting waited on. And I'm just looking at them like, all right now, ma'am, sir, And then I cough and they look at me and I look at them. I have a mask on. I didn't take it off. It's on. It's on my nose. So I just look at them like, I have a mask on. You're safe. And then like the woman came past me to go to the other register. I was like, hold on, let me back up. Hold on, ma'am. Hold on. It's like, I don't think we have the etiquette down. So it's like, if I'm standing here, you just have to wait and say, excuse me. And then I back up, then you come forward, and I'm thinking because she's an older woman that she knew that. She didn't. So I had to just teach her. But I also do it with my eyes. I just look at you. And then when I move, then you get to move. Sometimes you don't have to say nothing because some people are so testy nowadays. They test your religion. They test the Jesus inside of you. And that's what happened at T-Mobile store today. Like they were getting so antsy. And I'm like, people, I was here waiting 30 minutes before y'all even came in here. So you know what? Do it online. Do it online. Everything. You want to pay your bill, ma'am, and you mad? Do it online. Yeah. Do it online. Then she tried to fuss with the man. And I was like, oh, Jesus. Like, but you know what? That also pushed me because I don't like going out. And then it's then like 4 other people came in and then they're just standing behind me. And I'm like, I just look at them. They say, oh, excuse me. It's like, yeah, back up.
Yeah. People still don't understand with 6 feet. They don't know how far 6 feet is because,
but let me just arm out. That like 2, like just back up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna come in with a curveball. So I actually have done group gathering and events. Not personally, I haven't hosted any, but I've been to. So my grandfather turned 75 in October, and we had a dinner for him because he's literally been by himself. My grandmother passed away. He's by himself in New York City, and so it was like we really want to do something. Like we don't want to. He's by himself. Like it's one of those things where it's like hard to like make that decision, but it's like the risk outweigh the bad. Like I don't want him to be 75 and just be the last birthday we could have spent with him. So we did all go to New York. We did rent out a hall. We did, of course, disinfect. See, I done said it so much, can't talk. Disinfect. We bleached down. We done had all of the Lysol that they had in New York City. Like we just was working hard. The way we did things was we definitely made sure that everybody was accounted for. So contact tracing. So we made sure everybody had 6 feet, and whoever you came with was who you sat with. Like, don't come mixing and mingling. Like, this your table, friend. You sat with this family. Every family kind of had their own space. We didn't invite no 50, 11 people. No, it was just the immediate family, his brother, the immediate, his grandchildren, his nieces, nephews, and his own children. That was it. Like, just the first friends. Of course, his friends and all that were invited, but they were invited to like a virtual type thing. So you can see us stream live or whatever. But as far as like the immediate gathering, we all were there. We all wore our masks. I will say I've seen gatherings where people do not keep them at like first 20 minutes, everybody got a mask on. After about 25 minutes, they can't breathe. We done danced, we done did whatever. They done talked, they done walked, and now they can't breathe. So that mask got to come down just a little bit. Or you in the corner like you got asthma, try to breathe over that mask, and it's just bad. So it was a shorter event. We didn't hang out all night because we knew what was coming. I can't breathe. The mask is ridiculous. I got asthma. So I got a good like hour limit before my mask got to come on. So we made sure it was nice and short. So, just enough time for people to kind of eat dinner, sing happy birthday, and kind of get on out your way. We did it late night, but not too late night. So like 7, 6, 7, which in New York City, that's early morning. That's like the afternoon. So we were good. Like folks weren't really out just yet. So that was nice. And nobody reported anything after. Everybody went home. Amen. Nobody had no COVIDs. We didn't have, and we made sure to check up with everybody after a couple weeks after. Hey, how you doing? You feeling all right? And that was the behind the scene. Hey, you got anything? Just need nobody to check on myself. But we was checking in. We just, how you doing, friend? Girl, that party was amazing. Did you see the pictures? So how you feeling? No, COVID and coughing. So we went through that and made sure everybody was good and no reports of any symptoms. So we did good. And so my kids, we have been to hotels. We ain't going to hang around people, but when I go in the hotel, I got my own personal bottle of Lysol. I got all my cleaning products. My kids stay outside and like they're coming in the they're coming in the hotel room coughing. It's okay. It's that's the let the Lysol clean up them lungs. It's all right, baby. Just cough on up.
That's
Like
fair.
we done did
That's
we
fair.
done did
That's fair. My bottle lights all anyway. It don't matter.
listen, I own a daycare center. I get plenty Lysol and bleach. And if I can't get Lysol, I know how to use bleach. We prepared. So we've done hotels and we've survived it. Knock on wood and pray to God that we, keep on surviving this thing. We've and recently this was our first thing in 2021. With King, he just turned 8. So we decided to venture into the world. We were like, all right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna take all 9 of y'all and we're gonna see what this world out here doing. Now we didn't want to be local. We wanted to, I called around, I asked a lot of places, all right, what your policies are. How are you taking your temperatures? Who's enforcing the mask? So we took them roller skating up in Nova. Don't get me to lie about the name of the rink, but they had free skating for the kids. So we went and the kids kept their mask on. I do buy the neck gaithers because I think those are easier for them just to kind of keep them around your neck and not lose it. Cause as soon as you take that mask off to get a sip of water, it's gone. So we definitely like the neck gaiters. So my older kids, anybody's 5, 6 and up, they got neck gaiters. My little ones actually like masks. So we get the mask with like the little dinosaurs and stuff that they like. So we let them pick out their own mask. So that helps them to keep them on. So we did that, and then we went to Funland. And now the anxiety in my body, it was, my heart raced the entire time. I was looking every minute over my shoulder. I was reaching out, but my kids did a good job of staying together because they've had a year of, you stay together. Don't you move. You stay with your sister. You stay with your brother. Bigs with the bigs, little with the littles. Y'all stay. Look, you big kid get a little kid. We teaming up. We doing it like we have a real regimen, and they knew if they stepped out of that regimen, guess what? We was out of it. Like, won't no more fun to be had. Like, that's it. And they knew they were like this. They was getting cabin fever. The poor kids been in the house since COVID. So, and then not only that, but they homeschooled. They're in school. They're poor kids. So, we test the waters, and this was just a couple weeks ago, and everybody's still fine. We all been good. But we did, like I said, go around other people, and this is an arcade type situation. So there's like bumper cars and all this stuff, and I wanted to see how they were handling like the cleanliness of the place. And I will say they had somebody going around like stalkers right behind you, wiping everything down right after you. We had our own little section, so we didn't have to sit with other people. We didn't have to go around other people when we were ready to eat. We could sit in our little corner and eat in our little room. So I really enjoyed that. So it's not impossible to have group gatherings, but I will say if you decide to do something where you're in a, you go to church. Like that's the same risk if you go, like she said, to the doctor, the dentist. You could literally be doing absolutely nothing, go to the grocery store and come back with COVID. So I don't want to live in fear, and I don't want my children to live in fear either. So there's a level of understanding I need them to have. Like I need them to know, yes, we can go out. Yes, we can still, live. But I also need you to understand that there is a level of safety and, washing of hands and all that stuff that you also need to abide by. So there's just balance.
That's gonna bring me to my next. We got a few more minutes. Our last topic. Safety, and are we explaining to our young and old? Are we explaining the realness that this pandemic has? Quick story. A friend of mine went to a birthday party. Um, I don't know if he knew he had it or didn't, but he wasn't. He knew he wasn't feeling well, but he went anyway because he said he been cooped up so long and whatnot, and just wanted to get out. End up having it. Everybody at the party got COVID.
Jesus.
His mother ended up passing away
Jesus.
from COVID. So, are we talking to our kids? Because we look at this younger generation like the video game generation. Like they think um, something happens, they can just hit a reset button, or it doesn't matter. They take it very very lightly. So, are we talking to our kids? Are we letting them know that this is serious? Because I think because the pandemic is not tangible. You can't see it. You can't you can't touch it, and so it doesn't click almost. Because I ain't gonna lie, when it first happened, I remember the very first day that because we was in it was right after school, we had a assembly meeting, It was a Thursday. We had an assembly meeting, and they said, okay, there's a pandemic hitting, and we're gonna shut school down for 2 weeks. And so I was like, okay, it'll be 2 weeks. They're gonna clean the whole school. We're gonna come back, and it's over. Then okay, we're out for the rest of the month. And when they was out for the rest of the month, I was like, okay, this is bigger than what they saying, but they didn't know at the time. So now would you see the numbers of people dying and all this and that? Like, do we really, are we talking to them? Do they really understand what's going on? Like the severity of what we're living through right now? Anyone? How do we have that conversation with our children? That's what I want to ask.
Well, going back to what you said about the beginning of the pandemic when it first started, I was working at the time, and like you said, we heard about it, then they said we'll be out for a little bit, and then that little bit turned into months. And I remember my sister was living in Maryland with her husband at the time, and she was like, "Are you coming up? Because we're going to Costco. We getting all the stuff. We're going to bang, hanker down together, and and yeah, I'm coming." And we stayed for like, I guess, 2 months. And my job was doing virtual stuff. So we're doing Zooms with the kids and, meetings and things. And then I had the opportunity or the option to come back. And I just like, yeah, I'll come back. And so I came back, and my daughter, my 3-year-old, goes with me today. My alarm's going off. Or she and so when we go to school, I tell her about everything. Like, they're going to check your temperature before we go. Going to have to use hand sanitizer. And at first she was afraid because the thermometer I use goes in her ear. But every day we did this. So she learned to adapt to it. She knew that I couldn't take her to her classroom anymore. Someone else had to take her and escort her to her classroom. But like whatever she played with, she had to put into another container, and she couldn't play with her friends. And so she saw it. With Jude, it's different because he was virtual. And so he really didn't understand it. But I still told him anyway, because I truly believe he hears everything I tell him. He just selectively decides what he wants to do with it, autism or not. My 16-year-old, she fully understands because she's aware and she sees what's happening. And she's like CNN with the news. I can't do it. So when we would come home from work, we would take our clothes off as soon as we got into the house and throw it in a hamper. And I would, tell my daughter, it's like being a nurse or a doctor. When doctors and nurses come home, they have to throw their clothes in the hamper, and she's like, and she likes being in her pull-up anyway. And so she would take all her stuff off, and even her socks, throw it in the hamper. We'd go take a shower. And so she knew then that because people are getting sick and going into the hospital, she had to take her clothes off. So that's what I told her, nothing else. If she's heard something else, it wasn't from me. And I thought that was the best way to let her know that this is serious and we have to take it seriously. So that's all I've done in regards to my kids.
I can admit, I'm not saying I didn't take it serious, but it's just because my wife, she's not a she's not a germaphobe.
Okay.
But like, because she has no problem staying in the house weeks at a time. I eventually got to get out a little bit, even if I just walk around the block or something. But as soon as I come in, I strip, shower, and I'm like, oh my God, again.
Yep.
Like the first couple weeks, I swear, like 40 showers in like 3 days. Oh my God. But again, that was my ignorance and but again, like you said, once you see, okay, these numbers is serious now. These numbers are going up. People are dying. And it's real. So, I had to adjust. So now my answer is yes, dear. Yes, dear. Like, so I'm more, it's real. It's more real. It was real before, don't get me wrong, but it's more real now. So I get it. I understand it. And we're doing what we can to stay safe. Yeah. Anyone else got anything before we wrap up? Okay.
Wow.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that for me, safety, my kids, like I said, are older and grown, so they kind of knew from the beginning, we've got to, what to do and how to do. So it was easier, for me. But as a matter of fact, I had planned on reading a book for younger kids. I was going to say there's a book that Sesame Street brought out with Elmo wearing a mask that can, introduce younger kids to. So I plan on reading it this month, as a matter of fact, or next. But it's a lot of things to do, and especially about washing your hands for younger kids. And, if you've been in a preschool setting, they know because they have to do it. But if they haven't been, then it's a lot of books and things out there to really promote hand washing and every time you do it and when to do it to stay safe.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I need that book myself. But yeah, this has been a great conversation. I do appreciate all of you for joining us. I hope we've all learned something and had the opportunity to share and get some insight, especially to the parents. It's a job that I know that you all do not take lightly, and
Yes.
it's a job that I'm learning that, like my dad told me, I cannot fail at. So, and I know that you all do the best that we can, keeping that family safe. And so, yeah, I appreciate you for joining. Thank you very much. And on that note, is there any questions, any comments? Do we have anything online? Nothing on Facebook? All righty then.
And
Well,
I
that's
just
it.
say I commend the parents and the teachers. Um, keep I keep encouraging you and praying for you. And kids, I'm praying for you too because you will succeed.
Man.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I work in the school, so I do see the other side of the fence now, and I know what teachers go through. It's a job that just like parents don't pay enough,
That's
and
true.
the sad part about it is a lot of teachers like me, they don't do it for the pay. So we do it for the
And
love of.
that's why those are still there, some of them.
There you go, because I've seen some of them that have been here one day and gone tomorrow. But that's another story. But anyway, I do appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. And
Thank you for the invitation.
you are more than welcome. And I'm gonna pass it over to my lovely wife, and she's gonna close us out with any announcements.
Everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on our panel. This has been a great discussion. It is so important for us to make sure that we are teaching our children proper protocol and safety when it comes to this pandemic. Um, and we just want to make sure that we're doing the best that we possibly can. So again, I commend every parent that's on the panel, every parent that watches the replay, and even if you're not a parent, still participating in the lives of our youth to make sure that they have the best future that we can possibly provide for them is so vital. So we do want to close out. We want to invite you, if you feel led to give. Again, we say it every week, but Leviticus is great ground to sow into. We have many ways for you to give. You can give virtually through our website at www.leviticusrva.com. You can give on PayPal. Search the Leviticus Church. I'm sorry, search Leviticus Church. Yes, Leviticus Church. You can give Cash App. You can text to give, or you can mail in. Also, we have our Leviticus support services that's available for anyone who is in need of assistance during this time. If you need a sounding board, if you need some guidance, if you need tools and new strategies and tips, techniques to just navigate life in this time that we're in, please, we encourage you to contact our Leviticus support services and sign up for your three free sessions with one of our licensed clinical counselors and specialists that we have available for you. We also want to invite you to join us on our Sunday service. We stream live every single Sunday at 12:30 p.m. You can join us on our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube, or our website. We are, again, just thank you for coming. God bless you. God keep you. And we will see you all right here next week. Take care.